Submission Radio standing here with the champ here in Perth ahead of a huge UFC 305 coming up very, very soon. Dricus du Plessis, man, welcome to Australia. I got to ask you, normally people maybe don't want to be flying back and forth so close to a fight, but how's your journey been down to Australia and what do you think of the place so far?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, the journey is a much quicker one than flying to Vegas, to be honest. And it's part of this job. It's part of the being at the top, getting invited for press conferences, and kind of you have to do that, especially as a champion. It comes with the territory. So it's something I embrace. Something there's people that wish to be in this position. And I remember when I was, this is my first title defense, and before this, I used to hate it to see other people on the posters and see other people having to do these press conferences, and I don't have the opportunity to. So this is absolutely incredible. It's more of a it's more of a gift than anything else to be able to come here and have this show all around. Myself and Israel. This is our show. We are headlining this card, and it's amazing. The travel, obviously it takes some toll, but that's part of the job, and that's why my team's here. We're getting to work in, whether we are in South Africa, whether we're traveling, we'll always make sure we're getting those sessions.
I'll tell you, man, it was an interesting press conference. We've just got off the stage after that stare down. Probably one of the more intense stare downs I've seen in quite some time. What did you pick up from Israel there? What was he saying to you, first of all?
I think he said, don't kiss me. As far as I know, he said, don't go kissing me now. And I said, I'm no dog, so I won't. And, I don't know what he was saying. I wasn't really focused on what he was saying. I didn't say anything. I'm not here to say anything to him. It's the date is set. There's no need to be saying anything. And in terms of the demeanor, I could, this whole demeanor around this whole fight, I can feel that this man is trying to convince himself that he still wants to be here. And in saying that, he has done so much in the sport. And he says it's not about titles anymore. He will never, ever be... He will never get what he had again. There's not enough time. The winning streak, he has done what he was going to do in the sport in terms of legacy. So, right now, he's talking about so much outside of the sport instead of talking about what's going on in the sport that, is... I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is him trying to show or convince himself that he still wants to do this, that he still has what it takes, but I'm here just to show him that he's not. And it's fine. Take your retirement, enjoy your golf, and I'm the new champion, and I'm the new king of this division, and I'm going to make sure he knows that.
It's interesting though, in that stare down, it looked like you came in, you were ready to do it, and then it went for quite some time. I wonder, from your perspective, what was going through your mind as it kind of stood still for a minute there? It felt like you guys were just kind of not budging, not moving back. Mentally, what were you thinking in that moment? Were you expecting it to be like that? Did you just think it was just going to be a normal stare down? Did it sort of blow your expectations a little bit?
Yeah, no, it didn't. In terms of expectations, I go out there to win that stare, just like I go out there to win every exchange. And
so you're like, I'm not moving till this guy's moving now.
Absolutely. Like, listen, you'll be the one to move. And I went out there, and every situation is different, and you have to, like in a fight, you can have all the plans in the world, but at the end of the day, different things happen in there, and you have to adapt to those situations, and that's what happened in that stare down. So, I loved it. I loved that stare down. The longer we stood there, the smaller he became, and in my eyes and in his own. So for me, that was great. It was awesome, and that stare down also gives me a lot. Gives everybody a feel for what this fight's going to hold. I have no doubt in my mind that this fight is going to be an absolute banger of a fight. Like I said, I've never been in a boring fight, and I know he has been, but not with me. When you're in there when you're in that octagon with me, there's no way it's a boring fight, because I will be coming for, if it takes 25 minutes, I will be coming and trying to take your head off for 25 minutes.
Yeah, like, have you thought about the fight a bit more, and do you have more clarity on how you think it's going to go? Because you've thought about this for a while, right? But now it's actually locked in, and you've actually been face to face with him. Is there a scenario in your mind that stands out as to how you're going to win this thing in Perth?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm coming to finish. I didn't get a finish in my last fight. I've only had 2 decisions in my career, and that's more than enough. Both decisions were incredible wars, so that makes it. I'm happy with that. But I'm coming to finish. I'm coming to prove a point, and I'm going to do it in spectacular fashion.
I've got to ask, Robert Whittaker, man, he picked up an impressive win, changed opponents last minute, had his own health issues going into the fight, but made it anyway. I hear that he wants to be the backup for this fight. What would your reaction be if he is the backup for this fight? And have you heard anything from the UFC about that?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from the UFC, and Robert Whittaker. That just goes to show what an amazing fighter he is. I'm so happy for him, and so happy that the world can see. Everybody looks at this fight, going, "Oh, Dricus beat Whittaker. Maybe Whittaker is out of his prime. Whittaker is done. He's washed." Guys, the man is 32 years old, 31, turning 32. He's in his prime still. And I'm just happy that he proved all those naysayers wrong in saying, no, he's a washed-up fighter. For myself, obviously, that's great as well. And proving to the world and all these other fighters, listen, yeah, you're doing great at the back of the line. Come play with the big boys in the top 5 and see what it's like. And, Whittaker proved that. He proved that, listen, you can be a number 10 ranked fighter. To be a number 10 ranked fighter and to be a number 3 ranked fighter is two very, very different things. The difference between the number 1 fighter and number 5 fighter, on any given night, anyone can win. But the difference between the number 1 fighter and a number 10 fighter is massive. I've been in both scenarios. It's a big step up, and I'm just happy he got to prove that, and he proved that to the world and to the rest of the division. Listen, win your fights, earn your respect, but stay in your lane.
Yeah, the top 5 is where the big boys play in the UFC middleweight division, but it's interesting because you've got Sean Strickland saying that he's going to sit out, sort of wait for this title shot, and now you've got Robert Whittaker in this great position as well. From your perspective, if it was up to you, because obviously the UFC have to figure it out, if things go to plan against Israel, which one of the two would you prefer to sort of rematch?
Well, that's a good one. I mean, just in terms of what the people want to see me and Strickland do the rematch. They make the most noise, the Strickland fans, I guess. But, either one of them, at the end of the day, I'm here to fight the best guys. I'm here to fight the biggest fights, the fights that make the fans want to see. So, in my opinion, if I was how I see this playing out, you cannot not do the Whittaker versus Strickland fight. I think that's the fight that needs to happen. Now, I know Strickland, when we were at the presser, said Whittaker is nothing but a blitz, and it's an easy fight, and now he doesn't want to take that fight. Let me tell you one thing, Robert Whittaker is no easy fight for anybody. Strickland, also an incredible fighter, and it's just a fight that makes so much sense. It's that's a fight on its own. You can main event that fight on any card, and I honestly think that's how it's going to play out. I think that's going to be the fight. I think the UFC is going to make Whittaker and Strickland, and ultimately that's going to determine who's the number 1 contender. With Khamzat out of the run for now, I would have obviously loved to see the fight with him and Whittaker, but with him being out of the run for now, I think Whittaker, Strickland for number 1 contender fight's the next one.
Who do you think wins it between Rob and Sean?
Interesting. I think Sean has a style which it's really hard to hit him. He's defensively is really, really good. He's really hard to hit and to avoid damage. He's not scared to make it a boring fight. And with Rob, he has got a blitz, and it's a lot faster than you think. And you can put your lights out with one punch, which Strickland does not have. I think Rob has a more all-around game for sure, but then Strickland has the size advantage, and it's all going to come down to who's going to implement their game plan. If you're going to let Strickland walk forward and get into that rhythm, there's very few people on earth that's going to be able to beat him. But if you're fighting Rob's style and standing still in front of him, waiting for him to blitz, there's nobody in the world that's going to beat him. So that would be a very interesting fight. And the fact that I don't 100% know who's going to win that fight, that means it's a great fight.
It excites the champ. Just quickly on Khamzat, man, we're all disappointed when he couldn't make it. Hopefully he recovers. And there's been some issues in the past with his health where he hasn't been able to make fights. If you had to make a prediction, do you think he ever makes it to this title shot with you? Do you think you ever end up fighting him? And if you don't, would you be disappointed to not get a chance to fight him if it doesn't happen down the line?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to fight Khamzat. I mean, that's nobody's beaten him, and he was almost like the boogeyman of this division. But let's be honest, I was a bit disappointed that the fight didn't happen. Not that surprised, to be honest.
You expected it? You didn't think?
I didn't expect it. But I mean, you kind of have to at this stage expect something to happen. And like I said, I'm feeling sorry for the guy. I know what it feels like. I've been on that side of the area of not being able to fight, and it sucks. I mean, we are all fighters. We want to fight, but right now there's just not. It just doesn't even make sense to talk about it. He hasn't fought one single ranked middleweight, not one, and to even put him in that conversation right now seems like we're wasting time talking about it because he's not in the run. He's not in the run, and up until he proves that he deserves to be in that run, there's no use in talking about it.
Got to talk to you a little bit about legacy. Up on the stage, I was asking you what it meant for you to be able to fight Israel and then potentially beat him for your legacy. You mentioned how every fight is for your legacy, but obviously Robert Whittaker, Israel, two of the best middleweights to ever do it. That's great for the legacy as well. I want to ask you about Alex Pereira because he just had a great performance against Theory. Obviously, he's at light heavyweight, but how closely are you looking at him in this run that he's having at light heavyweight? I know that your plan is to defend the belt a number of times at middleweight, but is that a fight that excites you enough to potentially move up to light heavyweight down the track because of the greatness that Alex Pereira has been able to achieve lately?
Yeah, well, let me just go and say that man is an absolute monster. What he's done in a short period of time in the sport, how can you not be a fan? That guy, in 3 years, got himself a spot in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, for sure. And in combat sports, probably one of the greatest combat sports athletes to ever live. What he's done, he came into the UFC, everybody goes, he's just a striker. He doesn't have the background in terms of a mixed martial arts, too short of a career before the UFC. And he comes in and he does the things, he fights whenever he's asked to short notice fights and just looks better every single fight. Man, that guy is an absolute beast, and I'm a massive fan of Alex Pereira's the way he fights. Anybody in the world, you can't look at that guy and go, yeah, no. Scary dude, and, looking at him right now where I'm at in my career, it's not a concern for me. Yes, I'm keeping an eye. I keep an eye on every division, but right now my focus is
flyweight. Watch out.
Flyweight,
Steve Essig didn't know how close he's to fighting you up on that stage, right?
Yeah. You should know.
Carafrads.
I have a mean weight cutting strategy, guys. But
cut off 2 legs and I'm in.
But at the end of the day, my priority is defending this middleweight title up until I'm done defending this title, up until it doesn't make sense anymore, and it only makes sense to go up to light heavyweight. I don't know how long Alex Pereira is going to be around anymore, but it doesn't even matter. If that guy retires tomorrow, he's going down as one of the all-time greats, in my opinion. He is an amazing fighter.
As we wrap, I just got to ask, obviously, that stare down was pretty intense, and we're going to go into the fight week in a few weeks in Perth, about 6 weeks or so. What is your expectation from the media week and the fight week with Israel? Do you expect more of what happened towards the end of the press conference, more intensity, more back and forth, or do you think it's going to be a little bit more like the start of the press conference, where you guys are just kind of there to do business, and it's not that rivalry doesn't really spark up as much throughout the week?
Yeah, let me explain this. When this press conference happened, and it's not a fan press conference, there's probably not going to be that because there's not that fire. We said what we said, but the fans and that whole atmosphere kind of creates that animosity or creates that energy that you'll feel because the fans react to answers and they react to questions, and it's different than a media press conference. So that's what we saw there. But as soon as we got into that space where it's me versus him, even on the mic, because there's no fans and it's not fan questions, there's no interaction on the mic really. It's the media asking a question, we answering that question. But we saw what happened when it became me versus you, and I have no doubt that once the presser is the fan press conference there, we might see that. But the whole change came in his demeanor. I've always matched energy. I've always matched, you respect me, I respect you with my opponents. And the big thing now is he has a whole demeanor shift because he's changed in his life. The change is there, and I honestly don't think he wants to be. He talks about being at peace the whole time. Well, while he's at peace, I represent chaos. And peace hates chaos. And I promise you, when we're in that octagon, he will know nothing about peace. He will only know chaos.
All right, man. This chaos is coming to Perth, UFC 305, man. I cannot wait. Thanks for coming down to Australia, man. It's great to see you. Dricus du Plessis, the champ in the house here in Australia, ahead of a huge main event. Submission Radio out.